you know, Lonnie, this actually goes up a lot better than I thought.
Oh, it really does. It really
It's on the
does.
side of the building, but you know, we still got to talk about what are we going to talk about today. Now, everybody wants us to talk about the process like we did last week.
Yep.
That would be interior. You want to stay out here and maybe talk about this before we go interior?
I think there's a lot to discuss outside. It's a beautiful day. Let's stay outside.
Want to talk about this house wrap?
Why not? And by the way, we're not talking about a song or a dance. We're talking about house wrap.
I thought you were talking Snoop Dogg.
No. But we are talking about something that people know very little about.
Yeah.
They really do.
Guys, there's a lot of misconceptions too with house wrap. Do you guys know what the purpose of it is?
Okay. Obviously, it's got to do something with shedding.
Right. So from this side of the building, it actually protects the house from water, like liquid water. But then from the inside, that house wrap allows water vapor to pass through.
Okay.
So it's very important that you install the house wrap the correct way. You can't reverse it because then that water vapor won't go through.
Okay, see the lines going this way?
Yep.
You don't want to box up that humidity right in the house.
Exactly.
Okay, so what are we trying to protect behind here?
Well, there's the OSB, there's the studs, the insulation, all of that. So some people call house wraps a weather-resistant barrier.
Okay.
Now, I know we get this question out, well, there's siding, so why do you need this? Well, if you look closely on siding, on the bottom side, you can actually see a little hole. You guys know what that's for?
No. What?
It's a weep hole. So the siding manufacturers are anticipating that some weather or water is going to get behind this, and they give a spot for it to escape. So when the water does get here, it's going to shed down and protect any of the building products that we have behind it.
Okay, so put that up here. So what you're saying is, even with rain, driving rain, some of that can get behind this vinyl siding, and you need that to, and then this will just shut it off.
Right, so siding is actually just hung onto the side of the house. Now, properly installed siding is going to limit some of that water, but on a driving rain, you're surely going to get a little bit of water behind that.
Okay, Lonnie, how long have we been putting this up now?
Oh, for at least 3 years, and we found it's a very important product to be using.
Okay, and I think you are so impressed with this, Luke, you've decided to do it someplace else now too.
Yeah, the very similar product. We're going to show you guys later in the show what we started doing actually on our roof sheeting.
Okay, now do you guys want to demonstrate to see if this really works?
You know, I see you with a very small spray bottle there.
Okay,
showing that it works.
Put that up.
I'll spray.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
I'll give it a test.
here. So this is a sample. Now remember, you have to do it the right way,
The right
correct?
way out, yep. Just
Okay,
like
you got
that.
Behind that, Tony.
All the grooves are kind of coming down this. So Kayla, let's prove to Tony that this actually does work. See that miss? Goes straight down.
Does an all right
something
job.
stronger
I think you
than
need something stronger here.
Okay.
Try this.
driving range. Yeah, this is.
I think it's working really well.
Oh.
As you can see, it shed the water.
Great show today, Lon. You know, heating and air conditioning has changed so drastically since you and I have been building in the last 40 years.
You are right, Tony, and I love our new furnaces. They're variable speed, they're two-stage, they're quiet, efficient. Doesn't get any better than that.
And it takes out humidity too.
Guys, can we just have one episode where I don't get wet?
You're a mess.
Hey, you know what? We got to take everything in. I've got some electrical things here. I don't know if this is going to help, but I heard we don't have electricity in there, so we'll try it in a second.
Okay. With you guys, this first aid kit's really going to be helpful.
Okay, you know what? I think, Lonnie, we're pretty close to ready. Let's open it up.
All right, hey, welcome to Between the Studs. I'm Lonnie Norris, and this is part of the Granite Ridge Builders team, including Tony Ranke, president of Granite Ridge Builders. We're custom builders. We build custom homes in northern Indiana, northwest Ohio, and also parts of Michigan. And we love what we do, and we love coming into your home and share with you the different components and facets, all the many things related to building a custom home in one of our neighborhoods. Thanks for joining us today. And I think we've kind of figured out what we're doing, right?
Yeah, you know what? Last week we had such a great response to talking about the process
yeah.
that everybody wants to do it again. So I thought what we do, let's talk about three things today. Let's talk about insulation, let's talk about electricity, and also about HVAC. And I think you've got one big special on roofing.
We're talking a little bit about roofing today.
Okay.
New. I'm excited.
So let's all pick a spot. Let's get started.
Great.
Welcome out to Sienna Reserve, Granite Ridge's latest place to be, southwest Allen County. We're located on West Hamilton Road, just north of Illinois. And I'm excited to say right now we have 5 specs that are almost completed. We have ranches, we have story and a half with the master on the main floor. We have 2 stories. So if you don't have time to build, but you want that new home and you want to be Southwest Allen County, we have them available for you to look at today. They're ranging from the mid-3s to 500,000. Call us today at 490-1417 and you can get a glance at what the new homes are going to be like in Sienna Reserve.
You know, Kayla, one of the critical processes in a new custom home is the electrical side of things.
It definitely is. Now, a lot of people don't really understand how that has to do with design, but it makes a huge difference in the design aspect of your home.
We're stringing about a mile of wire in a home, so consideration is very important.
It is. Now, there's a lot of things, once the house is framed, that might dictate where the wires or lights go. So a lot of times when I meet with the electrician, you know, some joists might be in the way. We might have to move cans around, or switches might have to be moved away or on other walls, depending on what happens. So it's very important for people to have conversations with your electrician.
Even meet the electrician at the job,
if
right?
you can,
Yes,
that's
we do.
very, very helpful for their job to make sure it's where you want it to be.
I know one of the things that has changed is we used to always put the TV outlets and plugs on near the floor. Well, now people are raising them up to get those TVs up off the floor and even on the walls.
They are, and that's another one that we strongly recommend a meeting with an audio-video person about all of those types of items. Now, let's go take a look where the structure wiring is in this house and see how it plays
Yeah,
into everything.
let's look at it.
Okay.
Kayla, part of the mile of wiring that we run in a home these days is structure wiring like we see here.
Now, that's for TVs and phones. Now, that's changing a little bit here, isn't it?
It really is. In my day, we'd run like 6 or 8 outlets for the phone, but
That's definitely not what we need. I don't know if I have too many people even doing one at all.
right, this thing is kind of taking care of that. We really don't need the wire. But this is really critical. RG6 Cat 5 enhanced for those needs in the home, the data needs and so on.
Now, Lonnie, how is this all set up for the service provider to come in and hook all this up for me?
Well, all these wires start in a panel and then they are ran outside, so it makes it very convenient for the cable guy to hook up that TV.
That's great. Now, I have a designer tip for you. If you're planning on having a TV above a fireplace, make sure you run an HDMI cable so that way all the wires can be hidden behind the wall to a separate location, usually a foyer closet or a bookcase. That way you have a nice clean look above your fireplace.
You're right. Structured wiring for $500 to $1,000, we can do a lot of great things. Other important considerations when it comes to wiring in a new home involves the kitchen, big time. So Kayla, help me with lighting in the kitchen.
It does. It's probably one of the most popular subjects in design, and we talk a lot about pendants or cans, and we like to set that up, especially with the kitchen layout. Very nice to have something like that on the floor so you can kind of see where things are going. When we talk about cans, in moisture areas, we like to use airlock cans, so that way you don't have to worry about condensation or anything like that.
And by the way, Kayla, I'm standing here on a kitchen island,
Yeah.
going to be an island. What do we got as it relates to electricity here?
So we have conduit coming up, and that's for islands require 1 to 2 outlets, depending on the size of the island. It could be more if you have a larger island, but we need to get wiring out there. So the best way to do it is have conduit come in before they pour the concrete.
That even comes before the concrete, right.
Yeah.
And then also, I know another important thought in kitchens and really throughout the house is where you put the switches.
Definitely.
Be careful not to put the switch behind the door, for example.
Exactly, or one of my tips would definitely be to, if you have a walk-in closet, I like to put that on the inside of the closet so that way I don't see a switch in my main room. There's really no point to have it out there.
Again, very important that you get with the electrician and walk through that new home to get things right from the beginning.
You know what, guys? This house doesn't have electricity. I think 29 figured out how to get some electricity in this house. What do you think?
I think we're energized.
Okay,
I think we're
you
energized.
hold both these.
Okay.
We're gonna see if this works, guys. But I think. Sorry.
Shocking.
Just another reason to work with a professional electrician when you're building your custom home.
This segment is going to be all about insulation and its makeup and how it's made and where we do what and how with everything. So, Luke, start us off.
Well, let's start with our typical fiberglass insulation. You're going to see that in most of the house. You can see it all over the walls around us right now. We got a couple different applications here. Right behind me, you can actually see some interior soundproofing insulation.
Okay.
Roughly how much does that cost for a homeowner?
About $6 a running foot.
Yep, and it's a great way. As you can see, we got a master bedroom directly on the other side of that, and we got the great room. So great way to buffer that
So
noise.
they can be in here watching TV, and mom and dad can be in their bedroom, but because of the soundproofing, it's really going to cut down on all that noise.
Right, and then if we focus further into that front door there, you can see we got some paperback R15 as well as just some standard R15 that's got the plastic vapor barrier.
Now, why do we have the plastic vapor barrier on part of that?
Part of it is just it's easier to cut those pieces when it doesn't have the paper backing, and then some of the longer runs in the house they'll use the visqueen as opposed to the paper back. A few years ago, Tony, we were only doing R13, so we actually increased our R value about 15% in our houses today.
Now, I'm also seeing other insulation up high over here.
Yep, and that insulation over there is the same thing we got going on behind me, where it's interior soundproofing.
So why is it that color, though?
Good question. It actually kind of looks like it's dirty, but really that's what the insulation looks like, and it's formaldehyde free, so it's before they dye it either pink or yellow.
Is there a difference in the pink and the yellow, or is it just that manufacturer?
It's just the manufacturer. Pink's one manufacturer, yellow's another manufacturer, and this just is a cleaner look, so that's why they started dyeing it. It doesn't enhance the R value whatsoever.
You know, because it's funny you say that, because growing up, my dad always said, you have to get the pink insulation. The pink insulation is the best insulation, but it really doesn't matter.
Nope, it doesn't.
Now, we also do a special attic insulation, correct?
Yeah, we actually do two different types of insulation in the ceiling. Right above our head here, you can see a high-density R13. That's used in cathedral ceilings, and you can actually see a wafer board sticking out past those.
Okay.
Now that wafer board just allows to make sure we got that air transfer to the roof vent. And then in the flat ceilings, they're actually, once the drywall is hung, they're actually going to come back and they'll spray in a cellulose insulation.
And the reason we really can't do the blown-in insulation with the cathedral ceiling is because that's all just going to run down, right?
It's going to run down and you can't get a good cover all the way through. And that cellulose insulation, that's actually an R45. And that's what all of our flat ceilings consist of.
And code is really an R30. So we're doing 50% more insulation in there, correct?
Correct. And the other thing, keep in mind that cellulose is actually just made up of recycled newspapers. Now, a lot of people say, well, if my house catches on fire, won't that just burn up? Well, that's not the case. It's actually treated with a special product that is actually fire retardant.
Can we try it?
We can try it on this piece right here if you want.
Let's try it later.
Let's go find a lighter.
All right, let's go find a lighter.
All right, Tony, give the try for the fiberglass wall insulation here.
Wow, the flame is right. Luke, what is this stuff made of to do that?
It's just fiberglass treated with a fire retarder. Now here's some of the blown-in insulation. Now this is a wood fiber. It's kind of like recycled newspaper. You'd think this would just burst into flames. Give it a try.
All right, let's recycle newspaper and wood. Oh my goodness, look at that. Nothing.
Nothing at all.
Nothing at all.
And this is what goes in our ceilings. So no risk.
That's fantastic.
Yep.
Luke, thank you so much for the education around the house today.
Yeah, and here's one more tip for insulation. We got a perfect example of what to do and what not to do. As you can see, Tony's got his protection, respiratory protection, gloves, he's got long sleeves, long pants. Now Lonnie, on the other hand, he's in trouble. He's gonna get a scratchy throat, itchy arms.
Lonnie, why do you have all these red spots?
I don't know, I need some Benadryl.
Oh man, you used to be bad history.
Talking to clients about fireplaces in their home, I tend to talk about location and types of fireplace, the direct vent we have here, wood burner, or what kinds of faces they'd like, if it's ceramic or stone or brick, lots of different options, mantle styles. I don't tend to get into the guts or what goes behind a fireplace. What do people need to know?
Well, you mentioned this is a direct vent, so this is actually a sealed unit. And we actually vent it directly to the outside with this vent here. Now, if this was more centrally located in the house, you may have some complications on how to get that vent out. It might have to go through the ceiling.
How does that affect the outside look of my house then?
Yeah, you just have a metal vent that's sticking on the outside, but you got to be careful not to get that too close to a patio because it will get hot if this fireplace is burning.
Now, what about insulation with the fireplace?
Well, as you can see, we actually got a couple layers of drywall here, and behind that drywall is still our R15 bad insulation, so we're sealing that thermal break all the way throughout the house. But now you can see right behind you, we actually have some special insulation. And that's actually a spray foam. You'll see that in areas that are tough to get the fiberglass in, and you don't want to condense this fiberglass because you start actually losing some R value. So we'll put the spray foam in areas like that and around all of our windows, our exterior outlets, and our door openings.
And here's what the finished product looks like.
Kayla, I have a brand new article, and it's talking about air quality. which in a new home is very, very important, and we've addressed a lot of things. Let's give our audience some stats. I've got a couple.
I got
First
some
of all,
too.
did you know that most homes generate up to 40 pounds of dust a year?
Wow.
And up to 72 trillion allergens can enter your home each day. Now here's another good one for you.
Okay.
82% of all homes tested do not meet recommended safe air quality. We do.
We do.
Okay, what do you have?
Okay, you know, one of the ones that affected me a lot, 25 million people out of 300 million have asthma, including 7 million children. That's about 8%.
Unbelievable. Out of 300 million, 25 million.
Yeah, and we spend about 90% of our time indoors.
And 20% of all Americans, 1 out of every 5, have allergies that affect them drastically. Unbelievable stats. Now, we've got a couple experts that can maybe address our air quality and how Granite Ridge has solved it. Luke, Lonnie, you guys are on. Talk about one of the more boring things, but one of the most important.
Take over.
We'll try to make it interesting. Hey, it's a really important subject when we talk about HVAC, heating, ventilation, and air conditioning in a new home. At Granite Ridge, we start with a 96% plus furnace, which means only 4% of the heat and the cool generated in that furnace is lost.
Correct.
We're talking about major efficiency.
You're right, Lonnie. And you know, you mentioned 96% plus, but it's a 2-stage variable speed furnace.
And what does that mean exactly?
Okay, so the 2-stage, let's start there. That's talking about the gas burners.
Okay.
That means they actually have 2 settings. So think of it like a gas range. Would you want to cook eggs on high all the time?
Not me, no.
Right.
No.
So this actually has a lower setting. So if you only need to raise the temperature maybe 1 or 2 degrees, that lower setting is more than enough to heat the house up
So you
at
got
that
this
point.
small burner when you don't need a lot of heat, and you got a great big old burner when you're really calling for heat.
Exactly.
Okay,
Yep.
that makes sense.
And then I mentioned the variable speed.
Right.
That has to do with the fan speed.
Okay.
So that can actually rev up and down as well, providing more comfort. And especially in the cooling season like we're in now, that actually has an enhanced dehumidification mode in it.
Yeah, it's a proven point that if you can reduce humidity in the summer months, you can actually reduce the temperature and feel comfortable.
Exactly. And it helps with the indoor air quality. So that'll actually slow that fan speed, allowing more moisture to drop out of the air before it's put into your house.
Now, Tony and Kayla mentioned air quality. What does Granite Ridge do to address air quality as it relates to the furnace?
Yeah. Now, we're building extremely tight homes, but what that creates is potential issues with the indoor air quality because the houses are not breathing naturally like they used to, you know, back in the 70s and 60s. Now we're actually bringing in fresh air through that pipe right there. So that comes standard on every one of our homes. It's a fresh air intake. So we're actually supplying fresh air to our cold air return.
From the outside, okay.
From the outside, it goes through our filter and then heats or cools as it goes through the furnace and then gets distributed through the house.
Okay, and it's wired to our thermostat, so
Yep.
the customer doesn't have to do anything, right?
Right. You don't have to do
automatic.
anything. It takes care of itself. Now, some people are actually bringing in fresh air through exhaust fans only. We're not a big fan of that just because it doesn't go through this filtering process and you're not really sure where that air is coming from. It could be coming from the attic. It could be coming from the basement.
So we prefer fresh air return. It makes a big difference, doesn't it? And we're using this wireless digital thermostat for what reasons?
Yeah, this is, again, another standard at Granite Ridge. It's a Wi-Fi ready thermostat, which means as soon as you get internet hooked up to your new house, you can control your thermostat anywhere you have internet from your smartphone.
And I'm not very techy, but even I can run.
Yeah, it's
that
an extremely
thermostat.
easy app to use, and better yet, it's a free app.
Okay, and then regarding filtration, the filter, here is our standard filter in this particular setup.
So we use a standard 4-inch media filter.
Uh-huh.
Yep, this will last you about 6 to 8 months before you have to change it out. About a $30 filter. And this is a MERV 8, but you can get them up to MERV 11.
MERV has to do with the efficiency of the filter?
Yep, it's the efficiency value of the filter. The higher the number, the smaller the particle that it's going to filter out.
Okay, and this isn't electronic, this is mechanical. It's about a $30 filter that you ought to replace about every 6 to 8 months?
Yeah, and then if you got more concerns with the indoor air quality, like Kayla mentioned, maybe you have a kid who has allergies, we have options that can get that MERV rating up to maybe a MERV 15 and, you know, filter out the smallest particles, making it a healthy house for you and your family.
And that'd be electronic.
Yes.
$1,000 plus or minus, you can make that happen.
Yep, exactly.
And here's a couple stud tips. Change that furnace filter according to the manufacturer's suggestions.
Yep, about every 6 months, maybe tie it to a holiday. July 4th and Christmas is what I do.
And here's a few reasons why. Did you know the average American breathes in 3,400 gallons of fresh air a day?
Yeah, and 90% of Americans spend their time indoors, and that's why we invest in these products here to keep it healthy for them. But If you have somebody that does have some allergies or some consideration with the indoor air quality, spend that $1,000 to $1,300, upgrade to an electronic air purifier. It's money well spent. They'll be more comfortable, healthier in the house.
They do, and allergies affect 20% of all Americans, so very good information.
Let's get back to the core of the show. Let's talk about what's in the wall, but what's between the studs in the walls.
Well, let's do it.
Okay, you're going to talk a little bit about how we address domestic hot water and what does Granite Ridge do different?
Right. At Granite Ridge Builders, we either set a 40-gallon or 50-gallon gas hot water heater when natural gas is available, and it's a power vented system.
What does that mean?
Well, first of all, it means quick recovery because it's gas.
Okay.
And then secondly, it means it doesn't have one of those cumbersome vents that has to go up through a roof and sometimes through somebody's closet, and sometimes the architect doesn't know where to put it. So we do a power vent, which only requires a PVC plastic pipe to be vented outside.
And the worst thing is when you see that great big metal pipe right at your front door, that's something that you'll never see with the Granite Ridge house.
No, but sometimes it looks nice with Christmas tree lights on it. No, not really.
Good
not
point.
really.
All right, let's talk about our water and how we get it supplied to the different parts of the house. Now, there's
Right.
two systems. You and I, about 20 years ago, were doing what we call copper piping, right?
Right.
We're using something called a manifold or mana block.
Some
What
people call it
does
mana
this
block,
do, and why are there two different colors here?
We've got a main line that comes in.
Okay.
And then obviously the main line is going to go to the hot water heater, produce hot water.
Okay.
And then it goes back here
Yep.
into the manifold. And then the cold water is going to follow usually the blue lines to various locations in the home. And the red pipe is going to follow to the hot water needs in the home.
So each individual lines go directly to the source. We don't have the copper soldering joints.
No, you're correct.
We
right.
don't have what we call a home run, where we go from the half bath to the main bath to the master, and it takes so long to get there.
This delivers hot water 60% quicker than
Okay,
the old-fashioned.
so this is an amazing system. We have not had leaks since we've done that. Also, I heard you can isolate a potential problem at a certain sink, correct?
You're right, and we have a little key or someplace where you can,
Right
if
here.
you got a leak at the kitchen sink, you turn it off and let the rest of the house flow.
Okay, so this is a manifold system, standard in every Granite Ridge home. This is what we recommend going all the time. Now, I think Luke and Kayla are going to talk a little bit about what's inside the house on plumbing. All right.
And here's another Granite Ridge Builder stud tip just for you. When you are planning out your garage, ask yourself the question, am I going to be doing an extra refrigerator out there or a deep freeze so you can buy that half a cow? Make sure that you put in a separate dedicated circuit specifically for that freezer.
When it comes to the finished plumbing work, when you're talking about bathrooms, sink vanities, showers, there's a lot of things to consider. We spend a lot of time talking about shower locations and shower heads. What are some things we need to look at?
Yeah, now this is an upgraded shower. This would be a tile shower, and we got two different faucets here. We got our traditional shower head where, maybe you could put that Moxie shower head with the music that you can pull the Bluetooth out.
Yeah.
But then what's this extra one up here, Kayla?
So a lot of people request a rain can. You could do it a couple different ways. You can have one coming directly from the ceiling on a bar, or you could actually have one coming from the wall on a straight bar out and still have it right above your head, just like a rain can, and you can do them square or round. You have all sorts of finish options that you could do as well. The Venetian bronze and stainless are really popular.
Yeah, and you have two separate controls here, one controlling this and one controlling your rain shower.
So Luke, not only are our furnaces extremely efficient, but so is the ductwork. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so we got our 16-inch on-center I-joist here. So
Right.
right above our head is the second floor. This piece right here is a heat run going up to one of the bedrooms. Now you mentioned these are getting more efficient. You can see this actually has some insulation on it.
Uh-huh.
And it's
Yes.
actually an R4.2. As before, it used to have no insulation.
Right.
And we'd lose some of that heat as it went along the ceiling, some of the leakage. We don't have that anymore, so the heat that's coming from the furnace is getting to the room that it's intended for.
Just makes for more comfortable conditions and also higher efficiency. One stud tip at Granite Ridge Builders, we think it's so important that we actually test every house for duct leakage, don't we, Luke?
Yeah, we want to make sure, again, that heat is getting to where it's intended for, and we go through and actually seal every joint with a tape or a mastic to make sure that it gets to where it's supposed to.
Another critical point.
Things are moving southwest Allen County. Look over my shoulder, you can see that we're moving dirt on phase 2 of Magnolia Meadows. Phase 1 opened up less than 6 months ago. It's 95% sold out, so we have already started with phase 2 in this zero down territory. We have pond lots available. We have walkout lots available. We have daylight basement lots available. And we have these lots available starting at right around $45,000. You need to check out the fastest growing area in southwest Allen County, Magnolia Meadows and Sienna Reserves. Call today to reserve your lot. 490-1417. That's 490-1417. Check out the website at the bottom of the screen, but make sure you are looking at Magnolia Meadows, southwest Allen County, 0 down available.
Luke, earlier in the show we talked about house wrap, and now as we think about our shingles and the roof, we do also have a house wrap or a cover, an underlayment. In the old days we used this felt paper, number 15, or they used to call it 15 pound, it got lighter,
right,
number 15 paper. Very easy to tear. Wasn't unusual to go buy a new house and see this stuff flopping in the wind, even blowing away before we got the shingles down. We're doing something different. Let's talk about it.
Exactly. We just started using this product. Now this is what's called a Raptor. Now this is a synthetic roofing underlayment. So it's very similar to our house wrap where it's actually woven together. And you can't tear this at all.
I can't tear this stuff.
Yeah, you either need a knife or scissors, whereas that, you know, one slip with the foot and that'd tear, and then you have to repair it.
And it did often.
Yeah, this stuff here, you'll see some of our red roofs as you're driving down, you know, State Road 14. This is what we're using. The framers have loved it. It's a great product, and just like technology is changing some of our insides of our house, it's actually coming to the outside as well.
This makes a lot of sense, and this is definitely a Granite Ridge difference. I'm getting rid of this stuff.
Hey guys, are you ready to close? I think we got everything we wanted to do, right?
Yeah.
So, great show, fun. Tony, you want to?
Hey, if you'd like to know a little bit more about who we are and what we do and how we do what we do so well, give us a call at the bottom of the screen, check out the website, or better yet, come on through our front door. We'd love to see you.
You know, I really do love this type of a show where we show the process, the electrical, the mechanical. Wasn't this a lot of fun?
It was.
Before we leave, Tony said he'd volunteer to see if this works
Only
just
if
like
you use
the
the small one.
Oh,
Just
that's
the
all
small
we
one.
that's all we would do, wouldn't we,
See
Caleb?
how the water sheds off?
See that little? That's just
Well,
a
I'm
little
really glad you
split.
guys didn't shoot me in the
Yeah.
face. Like,
Oh, you know what? He's a sucker every time for this.
don't.
Ready and action.
Do you want to start?
Hey, Lonnie, action means go ahead.
Yeah, okay.
Action means start.
You hold both these, and we'll see if this works. Oh! I'm sorry.
It's just another reason you need to work with a professional electrician.
Actually, I don't think he should fall. Here's why.
Then do we need to hear?
People think he's dead.
He looked dead.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm afraid of. I think we better do that again because I'm afraid
Oh, that's
people
funny.
will. That was
good.
I thought that was good.
I'll start it, throw it to Luke, and then just say, yeah, you're right.
The top.
Did you know the average American breathes 3,400 gallons of fresh air each day?
Stop.
No, it's 3,400.
Like I said, I just blow your head.
I was right. He's normally right, but let's get it on record.
72 trillion allergens can enter your home each day. 87% of the air quality in a house, and I just lost my train of thought, and I just decided to kind of talk about that. And let's dance. All right. Okay.
Try this.
Driving rain. Yeah, this is.
I think it's working really well.
Oh.
As you can see, it shed the water.
The water sheds off.
See that little? That's just
Well,
a
I'm
little
really glad
split.
you guys didn't shoot me in the
Yeah.
face. Like,
Oh. You know what? He's a sucker every time for this.
don't.
Meal, that's all, folks. And the Porky Pig comes out.